Okay. I think that's working. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live. Welcome. Wow, hey, look at that. My phone just told me we're live. Isn't that cool? Technology. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Always great to have people coming in live. In case you haven't seen the schedule for this week, schedule. In case you haven't seen it this week, have a look on the Facebook group or on our Facebook page, or check your inbox. We try and send it out as many ways that we can. I even tweeted it, if that's your preferred method of finding out about these things. We are live tonight, talking all things, just an ambassador's chat, a bit of a catch-up, really. And I'm going to preview one dram, which is this mystery bottle in front of me. There's no cork in it because it's empty. There's a good reason why it's empty, even though it's a new bottle. No, I have not drunk a whole bottle. It's actually, look, I'll explain the reasoning why it's empty in a moment. But I'm just going to get the rest of the streams up. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. It's always great to have an audience, of course, and for members to be a part of our nightly live streams. I go live every single night. And if it's not me, it's Andrew. Sometimes you'll catch Andrew Durbidge, our cellar master, going live. I'm going to adjust that level. Yeah. Sometimes you'll catch Andrew, our cellar master, going live instead of me, which is a refreshing change always, because he's always got interesting things. He and I see eye to eye on a lot of things whiskey related. Some of them we don't agree on. I know he has a higher, he has quite a what's the word for it? A higher liking to, there's got to be a better way to say that, a higher liking to rich sherried whiskies than I do. I know that much. And as a result, one of his favorite whiskey distilleries on earth, of course, is one of the richest sherry distillery maturation policy distilleries on earth, which is always great. Big news, Bailey. Yeah. Nice intro beats, mate. Thank you. Monday live. Yes, that's right. Rob Baker, Sam Licardi, Steve Oates, Seamus Carroll, Irina. Look, I always start with a bit of music in the beginning of the stream. Just whilst I'm waiting for it to go live, it's always good to start the stream with a bit of music rather than just, me looking at a camera going, where are you? So I always like to start with a bit of music. And like I said, today is actually, there is actually a lot going on right now outside of the usual operations of Outturn and Unfiltered and whatnot. There's also some bigger picture stuff that we've been able to work on in the last 2 weeks, because often it's easy to get wrapped up in the day-to-day, and it's easy to get wrapped up in the exciting sort of bits and bobs going around. But of course, it is nice to sometimes step back. And if I'm not traveling around Australia as much as I usually do, which is right now, because there's no events, which I want to talk about as well as we go a little bit further in. I'm taking your questions as well. Please put questions in the Facebook group wherever you are. I'll catch those comments and questions coming in. But yeah, it's really just a chance for us to catch up on Monday nights. It's almost like a debrief or a pre-brief before the big week ahead. I try not to book any guests on Monday nights because it's a chance for us to catch up, just ambassador and members, and I really appreciate that side of it. And of course, there's some good banter, and you're always expecting a rant. I don't always have a rant, but I kind of do at the same time, a little bit. But I'll get to the rant later. I want to talk about this whiskey, some of the bigger picture stuff, like maybe some of the little things I can mention at the moment, and sort of answer some of your questions about events and answer your questions in general. So this is great. I'm just gonna kill that off. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to talk a bit about this whiskey to begin with. So let me make sure I've got both streams coming into my comment section here. June preview already. Yeah, okay. So Rowan and Alex and James and would like a June preview. You know what? I might be able to do that. So what do you reckon? Okay, June preview. You know what? You've sold me. I reckon we go for a bit of a June preview. Okay. Champs? Question mark. Champs. No real update on Champs yet. Look, I may as well get that out of the way nice and early now. I don't have a formal update on Champs yet. The venue that we were working with for Champs before COVID was the Art Gallery of New South Wales. A full takeover of the whole art gallery on a Saturday night in Sydney. That's pretty exciting. That's something I'm really excited to work on with the team here, with SMWS, with the art gallery, with members. However, yes, they had to close the gallery, of course, because of it being a public space and virus transmission, etc. It's starting to, things are starting to relax. So we're starting to look at it. of course, you can hold events for up to 5 people at the moment. We've never done a 5-person event at the society. It doesn't really make sense for us to host one now. So we are going to look at, as soon as, the next sort of few weeks unfold, we're looking at, what we can do in events and what we can bring to members here. Darren says, hey, Matt, good to see you. There must be 2 ways to get into Facebook Live. I was not seeing all the comments. Alex, you've got to catch, for those wondering, yes, we broadcast to our group and our page. There is reason for us having both. The page is a great way for us to reach, I guess, if I've been asked this before, the reason why we have a Facebook group and a Facebook page, the page is great for us to make formal announcements and for us to reach a new audience. That's always great because they give you a lot of tools on Facebook to reach different audiences. However, the Facebook group is our community. That's where we all catch up and talk. That's where you can post things, make comments of things. So I encourage you to please watch on the group. Yes, I catch some of the comments coming in on the page as well. However, I'm going to be catching most of the comments on the group. So for those people like Rowan Hitch, James Hart, Lachlan Bell, James Bunton, please jump into the group instead, which is just Scotch Malt Whisky Society Australia. And like I said, we use both, but it's really a chance for you can jump in either. Yeah. Yes, we have. Welcome to the society. No, it's exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Matt Wooler. June has a rum. There's the hit. Does June have a rum? June does have a rum. That's actually a very good point. I'm not talking about the rum tonight, however. Although I could preview the rum if you like. I'm talking about this one that's in the June outturn. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, Irina, you're in the group. It doesn't matter where you join from. If you're watching the page of the group, I'm going to catch your comments and questions anyway. But there's always way more activity in the group, and that's why I keep most of my my eyeballs on the group. So I can see that numbers on page viewers have just dropped by half, and a few more have come over the group. So that's great. You know what? I really appreciate that. So why is that flashing? I don't need that to flash. That's just a distraction now. Killed. Okay. So coming up, here's where it gets interesting. In every outturn, sometimes members ask, are there any non-Scottish whiskies appearing? Some months I get to say yes. And that's a result of Andrew working with casking team over in the UK to secure casks of some interesting other whiskies from either sometimes new old markets and sometimes, not even new old, but just different countries producing great whiskey. We are the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. We don't just bottle Scottish whiskey. In fact, we've been bottling Japanese whiskey, Taiwanese whiskey, English, Welsh, American, all sorts of stuff around the world, including Indian whiskey. June has an Indian whiskey in it. This is very, very fascinating spirit, and I have just a wee glass of it here to enjoy. So I'm going to nose that. Wow. There's an incredible creamy balance to this spirit. I'm going to show what this is. This is 134.7, a Dreamer's Dram in the sweet, fruity, and mellow profile. Let me try saying that again. In the sweet, fruity, and mellow flavor profile. There it is. I'm going to hold that label up. For anyone who caught some of those earlier 134s we had through at the Society, 134.1, 134.3, I think .4 as well. Remarkable whiskeys. 134.7 is our sweet, fruity, and mellow, a Dreamer's Dram. My lighting's sort of throwing. I'm going to move that light. Show that up again. Hope you can see that all right. So this is an Indian whiskey. This is an Indian single cask, single malt whiskey. So let's examine some of the things about this whiskey in particular. It says on the bottle, aged 5 years. That's 5 years aged in India. So for those who might know, some of you will probably already know this, but when you age something in a climate which is much hotter than Scotland, much more humid, much more monsoonal, you get a faster wood interaction. So it's a 5-year-old whiskey, but by Scottish whiskey standards, this is closer to what you would recognize as something like a 17 to 22-year-old Scotch whiskey. I'm not exaggerating that at all. If you've tried any tropical aged spirits before, you get what I'm talking about here. So it holds up. It is old. This is by definition old for Indian whiskey. So most of the whiskey that comes out of this distillery that starts with P and second word J, I'll talk a bit more about the distillery in a moment, are best known for their young whiskies. Their whiskey is young. Now, I've got to start by saying the distillery itself that producing this spirit is about 10, 12 years old. 2008. So we're talking 12 years old here. So the distillery has not even been around for what most Scotch whiskies are bottled at, let alone what Indian whiskey can bottle at. Now, I'm not going to do that thing where I deliberately don't say the name because I want to be able to teach you a bit about this distillery in particular, because I happen to think that I don't think this. There's 3 distilleries mainly operating in India these days. You've got Rampur, you've got Amrut, and you've got Paul John. I haven't tried enough Rampur to really rate it. Amrut, I think, is a great whiskey. I happen to think, however, that their spirit is okay. Their casks are great. Whereas I think with Paul John, it's actually almost the opposite. It's a distillery where their spirit quality is remarkable and their cask selection is good. So if, in our case, we're able to pick out a single cask that is performing rather well and bottle it for members, then we might be onto something here. So this is distilled 31st of January 2014. It passed panel just recently as a 5-year-old single cask, single malt whiskey. Global outturn of one of 215 bottles, 61.0%. It says on the front here, puffs of sweet spice and fried plantains were followed by tuna steak in an Asian sesame crust. A drop of water and we drifted into oblivion. That sounds really tasty. So it's definitely got that sort of Asian influence going on there. If you like that sort of like Asian coastal, Asian sesame crust, as it says, that's an interesting flavor profile within itself. I can hear, is that my phone? No. Am I going crazy? Probably. Second fill, ex-bourbon barrel. Second fill, meaning, hey. Team refill, hashtag team refill. So love that distillery, says Seamus. Quite agree. Old whiskey for that climate, indeed. Yeah, just like 5 years in Texas. Very good point, Darren. If you were to mature a whiskey for 5 years in Texas, you'd probably get a almost similar result. Although Texas I wouldn't quite label as monsoonal, but I know what you mean. Rampur. I can't say anything about Rampur. I don't really know anything about Rampur. I'm sorry. 20 years in Scotland. Exactly. Give us a clue. What does it rhyme with? It rhymes with what rhymes with Paul? Anyway, it's Paul John. Look, if you've ever tried in Paul John, you'll know what I'm talking about. They have a lovely spirit character. It's got a lovely spice to it, and I've got a bit of it in my glass here. It's almost like there's definitely like sesame seed. It's great to see some new old whiskey coming through, and we're going to see a bit more in the next few months as well, which is great. As Andrew you would have seen Andrew's post on our Facebook group about the what do you call it? Yeah, some American whiskeys coming through, and not just bourbons. So some rye and single malts in production at the moment, which is great. All gone. Paul John rhymes with all gone. Yeah. If you say it with a bit of a Paul, a bit of an all, then you're getting a bit of a rhyme there. So, shoal from, yeah. Yeah, there you go. So new pack. Now, this is, okay, so here we go. I'm gonna divulge why this bottle is empty now. Actually, I haven't even told you much about this distillery. So, okay, it's based in Bangalore. They actually have 3 sites. They have like 3 actual distilling sites in India. Their main site where the whiskey is made is in Bangalore. They have other sites where they also make brandies and other spirits. It is traditional copper pot, Indian-made copper pot stills, and it produces about 6,000 liters a day. That's pretty big. It's pretty big output. So it is. They have about 10,000 casks at any given time maturing. Obviously, it's not a huge amount because they're not looking to lay down casks for 7, 8, 9, 10 years or anything. This is an old whiskey by their standard. So it was in 2008 they were founded. It was in 2012 when they launched their first whiskeys, which are I think 3 and a bit years old. So I remember the actual launch for those whiskeys. They were quite something else. I'm just having a look at the comments here. So actually, one thing about this distillery, which I find fascinating as well, which separates it from the other distilleries in India, especially, they are using local ingredient. Now that's quite difficult to do. It's very, India is not the ideal climate for maturing barley. It's not the ideal climate. The water supply can be often problematic, as I'm sure you understand. So, it's local ingredients. So it's almost a barley to bottle arrangement. I wouldn't go so far to say that. I don't even know what that means, actually. You know those distilleries that use barley to bottle or use local barley kind of makes sense. But how local is local? Is it the same country? You know what I mean? That could be a rant for another day. So yeah, it was there. Most of their spirit is mature between 3 and 4 years. So it's really nice to taste something a little bit older by their standard. A whole nother year in Scotland, that is fairly insignificant. In India, that is significant. We have to make that distinction here, and it is hard to source these casks. So it's something quite nice, and we are, as far as I know, one of the only, if not the only, independent bottler of their spirit. I could be wrong on that, but I'm open to be corrected. So there we go. We've got an interesting whiskey there from a hot climate, a monsoonal climate. I don't think I can really fit that one in camera at the moment. I'll just put it there. So I'm going to come back to these comments just for a second, see if I've missed anything. Yes, okay. So great question from Johnny Edwards here. The cask was matured at the distillery, and more likely, yes, it was matured underground. I think it was these were matured underground. I'd have to check that because they do underground and in warehouse maturation. I think it's from the underground casks, Johnny, only because that's where I think most of their casks are. But I'd have to check that with our distillery, with the distillery our casking team. However, I do know this was entirely matured in India. We have bottled whiskies from other countries that have been matured in Scotland and then bottled in Scotland. This was matured in India, shipped to Scotland as a mature spirit in a vat, and then bottled in Scotland. Paddock to bottle, yeah. Farm to bottle, yeah. I mean, all these phrases. I mean, that's not really my rant tonight, but it could be. It's one of those marketing terms of it, like, small batch in bourbon or something. What does, farm to bottle? I mean, yes, every whiskey by that definition is farm to bottle. So every single malt is farm to bottle. It's all coming from barley. It's all coming from a farm. So even if that farm is a commercial farming facility 3,000 kilometers away, it's still coming from a farm. So, yeah, paddock to bottle. Yeah, handmade. There you go. I didn't know that, Seamus. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Gary. Good to see everyone tuning in, by the way. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Monday night chat. It's an informal one on Mondays. It's a chance for us to have a chat, jump in the comments, ask some questions, and talk about one of these new releases. Now, the reason why this bottle is empty and there's just one sneaky dram left at the bottom like this one, and I can prove that to you. Look, it's all gone. The reason why I'm talking about this particular bottling is because it's one of five bottlings that well, it's more than five, but it's one of the 5 bottlings that's in our June pack. There could have been a better way to announce that. We've got a virtual tasting coming up again in June. So the May virtual tasting, which is the festival pack, has completely sold out to the point where there's a wait list of about 45 members waiting to get that pack. I'm really sorry if you missed out on that. We've seen the demand for these in-home tasting packs, and we're producing them as fast as we can in market for you. So for the June pack, however, it's called Weird, Wacky, and Wonderful. And this falls into that category, I'd say. It falls into that category of weird, wacky, and wonderful. It's from a distillery that doesn't really do many single casks. It's from a distillery that is monsoonally matured in India. So it's an Indian single cask, single malt whiskey bottled at cask strength and approved by panel for members. So that definitely falls into the weird, wacky, and wonderful. So we've got this pack called the WWW, the Weird, Wacky, and Wonderful. And it's a chance for us to taste through 5 whiskeys. The date, I know you're going to ask, so I better bring up my calendar. The date for this tasting in June is Friday the 26th. Now, I've also had a few people ask, why is the date of the tasting so far after the packs go on sale? In this case, it's less so because our turn falls on the 5th in June. And by the way, yes, I will be featuring Malt of the Month as a special tasting on one of our live streams. Not tonight, however. So it falls onto the 5th. So it's quite a late Friday for the first Friday of the month. So June 5th is when our turn hits next month. June out turn's ready to go. It's in the bag. It's at the printers. And this June tasting pack is in it. So you'll be able to get that tasting pack on the 5th along with your other bottlings. It'll be $99 like the other pack as well. And that gets you 5 full-size 30 ml drams. 5 30 ml drams from not just from stuff that's in outturn, but also stuff that casks that might never actually get featured in outturn. So that's also exciting. And in those packs, we're going to send them out. We're making a few more this time to make sure there's enough. You'll be able to tune in live on the 26th, the Friday the 26th, to watch in live. Now, what was I going to say about that? Yeah, so I've lost my train of thought. Weird, wacky, and wonderful is the theme, and the idea is that it's 5 whiskeys that are weird casks, wacky distilleries, or is it wacky distilleries, weird casks, anyway, and wonderful drams. 5 really unique single casks from either distilleries we don't see very often, or from casks, cask full maturation or finishes that are interesting, that are, like have some rather full flavors in there that I think are going to be rather fascinating for us to enjoy. And the peated cask in that one, for me, is actually one of my favorites. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you all on Friday the 26th. That's right. I was going to say the reason why it's 3 weeks after outturn is because we're seeing the delays at Australia Post. Rob Akers, you're watching right now. Your April outturn that we sent on the 23rd of March has just arrived. And you live in Melbourne. So spare a thought for our members, although there are not many of them, our members who live in Northern Territory. They're still waiting on probably their Feb outturn. So that's the way it goes, unfortunately. Australia Post, we are working the best we can with them. Express has picked up a bit. So if you are interstate, you might get that sent express, I think. I'll have to check that with our office. But it's if you live in Sydney, it'll be sent normal post. But even living in Sydney with normal post, it sometimes can take a week or two for it to arrive. So we want to make sure everyone's got it. It's sitting at home. It's ready to go when the tasting happens, rather than, hey, we're going live on the Friday after the outturn. It's like packs haven't arrived yet. They haven't even been sent. Whatever's happening with Australia Post. So we're not in a position at the moment to change our entire supply chain with postage and freight with our warehouse. It seems a bit of a knee-jerk reaction as well to move to an expensive or different courier service. Of course, if there was a bottling you were buying off us that you wanted a courier service, that you wanted express, whatever, you can add express as a product in checkout. It's not in checkout, sorry. It's as a product on the page, on the shop page. It's far from ideal, but it means you get express post instead of standard. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you understand the reasoning behind it, because I don't want to just immediately go to sort of like, oh, let's completely revamp everything over the incidence of COVID. So it's for us, yes, Australia Post is starting to speed up a bit. There are reports of sometimes packages sitting at the Melbourne and Adelaide warehouses for 4 to 5 days before they even get sent out to addresses. We have no control over that. And unless we want to move our postage from 15 flat rate to 45 flat rate for a courier service, it's not going to be viable. So we're trying to make sure it's best for all our members. Okay, so grabbing some of these comments coming in. Oh, wow, heaps of comments. Sorry. Here we go. Handmade, sorry, I listened to that. We love listening to your chat. Gary, thanks, mate, and I love you being in here. Hashtag finish your bottles. They lose a lot to the Angels. Yeah, they certainly do. Angel share is an interesting one because these guys lose, from memory, it's something like 12 or 14% per annum compounding. I can't remember. It's higher than Australia, so it's a lot. So 112, 122, 134, 135, 137. Rob, no, you're not. No, you're not even right. No, sorry. No. I mean, there's some interesting whiskeys in there, but they're not all in that bracket. There's some smaller codes in there actually, which is exciting. Below ground can get it a couple more years, not by much though, but it helps. Yeah, okay, maybe that's the case. It could be below, it could be above. Like I said, I have to check that. I don't know the exact location of where that cask was, but I love you guys asking. Lee Atwood, Joan, good to see you, Lee. Hey, James, it impacts the spirit hugely. From memory, Paul John actually blend both the warehouse and underground together to get a more balanced whiskey in their core range. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Matt's distancing rules, relaxation, celebration, palmy and pint coming back to haunt him there. Oh, don't say palmy and pint. It's all I crave at the moment at the pub, but the pub's not open yet. Paul John Petered has got some ripping reviews. There might just be a Paul John Petered single cask in the works. Keep an eye out. It's the unpeated one this month coming up, but we have a peated one on the way. There you go. Heard it here first. Ali Barner, good to see Ali. Zeno, can you talk about what you picked up from the warehouse, or was that R1? Okay. Zeno, you know what? I'll get back to that. Hand delivered by Andrew. Bit harsh to give us just space to give Auspost the flick, given the state of the world. Graham, I'm not giving Auspost the flick. Exactly. We are staying with them. We've got a great account manager there. I understand there's delays. I'm just saying that we're pushing our tastings to be 3 weeks after the sale date of the boxes, which seems like you might have a tasting box sitting at home then for 2 weeks, and it's going to be tempting to drink them before the live. You can do that, of course, if you wish. But if you wish to join in with all the other members in appreciating it, it might just have to sit in your shelf for a while. So we're staying with Australia Post. Absolutely. Sorry. I wasn't giving Australia Post any grief there. I'm just saying there are delays at the moment, and that's a reality. As long as my bottles arrive safe, not too fast if it takes a few weeks. Tasting packs aside, yeah. You guys did well, mate. 7 days for our bottles to arrive. Yeah, 7 days isn't too bad to cans. That's actually pretty good. It's sending up north from Sydney can often take even longer than sending down south because maybe you think it's volume of supply. I'm not sure. 12%, yeah, 12. I wasn't too far off there, Wooler. I think it was 12 to 14. I think, yeah, I thought it was 14. But 12%, that's still massive. That means that essentially a 10-year-old whiskey, you'd be lucky to see a couple of liters swishing around the bottom. PJ Edit is a personal core range favorite. Sorry, yeah. PJ Edited. I can't remember the last time I had the edited. I think it's a funny name for a whiskey, though. We took this whiskey and we edited it. Our editor has looked at this whiskey. Zeno, you asked a really valid question. What was it at the warehouse I was grabbing? It was one of the other the whiskeys. It was one of the other bottlings in the pack coming. So we don't see too much from this distillery either. And this is an interesting one. So I'm going to show you what's happened here. Jamaican Rum. So it's 4 whiskeys and 1 rum in that weird, wacky, and wonderful pack coming in the June outturn. R1.5. I'm going to hold that up. It says on the label, for those who can't see that, A Little Extravagant is the name of it. It's R1.5, the 5th ever cask we've seen from this distillery. The last one, R1.4, we also got in Australia, was 5 years ago, maybe even more. So maybe 5 years ago, I think, or a little bit longer. Bam. This falls on, it doesn't, our single cask spirits do not carry a flavor profile. They're in our single cask spirits range. They're separate from the flavor profiles like sweet, fruity, and mellow, like you saw here. This one's also been emptied into sample bottles, ready to go. A proper Jamaican spirit here. So 29th of March, 2007. And it had a 2-year finish in a new oak, a virgin oak HTMC barrel. HTMC stands for those who have been watching a long time and go, no, it's all right. HTMC stands for heavy toast medium char. It's a cask. It's a relatively modern cask treatment for a lot of casks, which makes for some fascinating, rich, spicy characters. And if you get I would label this as quite a, what's the word for it? Agricole. That's the word I'm looking for. It's quite an agricole style rum, this one. And Jamaican rums can often be one of two things. Some Jamaican rums are quite syrupy, quite like dark, syrupy, and rich. Some Jamaican rums, the type that I more prefer, are more sort of agricole and rum almost style, like fresh sugarcane cut sort of spirit, which I love as well. I adore when you get those notes of wood glue. And it sounds undesirable almost to say that, doesn't it? Like notes of wood glue and honey. It's like, it's just, but there's something fascinating in that. And it even says in the front label here, the shortened tasting note says nail polish, fantastic. That acetone Jamaican note, which is, it's just amazing. Like R11s, R1s get them. Nail polish, wood glue next to an astringent taste made this a challenge at first, but give it plenty of water and time and you'll be richly rewarded. 12 years old, from a new oak HTMC single cask barrel, 62.8%. You know what? 62.8% is actually fairly mild compared to some of the rums we've seen, but that's really exciting as well. That is one of the others in the pack. 4 whiskeys, 1 rum. I won't reveal the other 3 whiskeys yet. I don't want to maintain some sort of surprise, but they're very exciting. They are very exciting. And I actually don't have the bottles. Oh no, I do. I do have the empties. Some of them. HTMC, hairy Titanic man-child. Yeah, that's actually the official term for the casks. Willa, thank you so much for that. Heavy toast medium char, you got it right, Lachlan. That's correct. It's a cask treatment. It's a type of cask treatment, which is really exciting. Tasting a 7.233. Holy shitballs, Batman. Yeah, you could have named the cask that instead of a syrupy sweet tale of romance. There's an empty bottle up there of it. That was one of the bottles that went into the packs. There you go. I'm really looking forward to hosting that in just under 2 weeks. That's the 29th of May. If you've got your box, if you didn't get one, I'm sorry. There was such a demand for them. But if you got your box, then you're all set for the 29th. I'm really excited for the 29th. I didn't really have an organized rant tonight, except there was one thing that sort of passed me by, passed my desk in the last couple of weeks. Now, I sort of made reference to this in one of my previous rants, but I'm going to be a bit more pointed tonight on it. So there's two things here. Well, one of the things I was going to rant about is will put me in Ralphie's bad books, and anyone who's a fan of Ralphie forever. So I'm not going to go on that one just yet. Sorry. But there is one where you often see, now you don't see this in the society group. So I'm going to be a little bit biased and say, I'm glad we don't see this happen in the SMWS group. You are welcome to post in the group that you're watching this on with your deliveries, your comments, your questions, anything flavor related, food pairings, anything you're working on with a society cast, give it a go. Post it up. Who cares? We appreciate it. And we love the conversation. And we love the dialogue. That's what the community is there for. However, in some other, actually, before I check that, any premium bottlings in June Outturn? Yes. Actually, two, Rowan. Two. One of them is premium. The other one is a super premium whiskey. I can't say any more than that just yet. Will any of these birds be on the May tasting waitlist be fulfilled? Andy, I'm afraid not. You might be first to know about the June pack, though. We'll try and let those who were definitely on the wait list for the May pack to be in the June pack. And we understand that the demand is high, so we're going to ramp up production even more, well, provided we can. So we'll see how we go with that. But there's only so many bottlings sometimes. It's like if we put them all into samples, then there won't be any full-size bottles available. So anyway, VC, Lachlan, yes, and yes. Yes, two yeses. You got two yeses then. Yeah, so there's two VCs coming in, and that stands for Vaults Collection in June Outturn. One is ballot and one is open. So the end. No, there's some Vaults collections coming through, which is exciting. And one of them is going to be one of the most how do I say this without giving it away? One of the most desirable sherried whiskeys I think we've ever seen. So, bam. So there we go. Okay, so sometimes just this thing you see. Okay, sometimes this thing you see on Facebook groups, on whiskey groups on Facebook, and it is something that is worth remarking on. Is you see this whole sort of people will post something, and I don't care whether you're enjoying a monkey shoulder, a Johnny Walker Red Label, or a 50-year-old Macallan. I don't care what it is you're enjoying. If you can afford a monkey shoulder and you appreciate a monkey shoulder, I'm using any example. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to go with Reginald Walker Purple Label, just to play it safe. But whatever it is, whether that bottle you've bought is $30 or $30,000 or something in between, you often see this trend. It's a trend. I'm going to call it a trend. And it happens more and more, unfortunately, of where you post it, you're like, and you post a photo with the bottle, and you're like, oh, I'm enjoying this right now. I'm really enjoying this. Lovely bit of Indian whiskey here, a single cask Indian whiskey from a fascinating distillery. It's a single cask, aged 5 years. You know what? I love the fact that we put the age statement on there. Transparency. Okay. But you go, okay, well, it's like, I'm enjoying that. And it's like, okay, well, there's always often, not always, but you often see this trend. This is my rant, by the way. You often see this trend of people going, yeah, that one was good, but the previous cask was better. Or someone will post whatever, Glen Wonka 30-year-old, and someone will go, yeah, the Glen Wonka 30-year-old's a nice whiskey, but I've got a bottle of the 35 and it's better. Just stop. Look, that's just all I'm going to say on that. It's just, it is this whole sort of like, almost like this one-upmanship on age statements and you've got to, it's like, oh, you can't just enjoy that one. You have to enjoy this one. Or, oh, I didn't like that one, but this one's better. It gets a bit sort of, watching where Matt Willis says it's true. Watching whiskey Facebook groups is crack to you. No, it's not crack to me. I just find it. I like to keep on top of what people are discussing. I love to see what people are drinking. I love to see the trends. Especially, but the real reason I'm in them is a glimpse of real discussion sometimes. And so, always open to those kind of levels of discussion. There's no such thing as a question too dumb, especially if you're asking, in a society group about anything to do with like appreciation of whiskey is what it's about. So with that said, it's not like cracked minutes. It's almost like sometimes I find it fascinating. Sometimes I find it frustrating. You got to take the good and the bad, but I encourage you to, appreciate what's in your glass at the time rather than looking at what someone else has in their glass, if that makes sense. I don't know how else to describe that. Johnny Edwards asks, more Ardbeg. Johnny, we've had 2 in a row. We've had the 138 and 139. Nothing immediately on the horizon, I'll be honest with you. For the next one would be the 140, I guess, which I don't know if it's even been bottled. So it's a matter of eventually, not yet. So, but Johnny, we went a little while without any, we've gone sort of, a few here and there. We had like 133, 134, 135, 137, then a bit of a gap, then 138, 139. So they do come through periodically. We've had maybe, 6 or 7 in the last 3 or 4 years, which has been great. But, we'll get them when they come, of course. Johnny, did you get one of the 139s? I hope you did. I can't remember if you won the ballot or not. Anyway, Zeno says, is it a VC27, McAllen? I will lose my poo and my funds. Uni students need food. Zeno, mate, you need mee goreng. You know how to afford good whiskey? Mee goreng. Like watching a train wreck. Yeah. Yeah. Matt Willer says, I'm really enjoying this whiskey. Bottle is closed in the photo. Yeah, that one's always a good one, isn't it? Sort of like a sealed bottle, which I don't have around me. This is a great whiskey. Really enjoying this. And it's a bit of a sort of a promo shot. It's like, you know what, how you'd enjoy that whiskey even more if it was open. Doesn't taste any good inside the bottle, as I've said before. Any Tassie whiskey in the future. David, we're working on all sorts of things in Australian whiskey at the moment. There's been some exciting developments which are, in the pipeline, which are really great. So I'm not going to say whether it's Tassie or mainland, but we're working on some great Australian whiskey at the moment. That's all I need to say at the moment on that one. I know I've said that before, and I've said it before, and I've said it before, and I'll likely say it again. But we are working on some local whiskey now that it makes more sense to. Now there's some great spirit coming out. Now that the quality is improving, and it's just a matter of time and place. David, however, they will be offered to existing members, especially the .1s that come out from the distilleries we're working with. They'll be offered to existing members first and foremost. Those who have been a member for a while, who have not a while, a bit it'll be existing members, of course. We only sell to members anyway, but it's like it'll be the bottlings are only available members, but it'll be to members who have been holding out for these. We'll make sure that it's as fairly dispersed as possible as well, and that probably means for the .1s it will be a ballot, but it's too early to say. Yes, I was very fortunate to win the ballot. Johnny, just for the record, on the on being fortunate to win the ballot, there was 15 bottles and 180 something entries. So you did very well. Matt Whisker joined. Good to see you, Matt Whisker. Alex Turner, it's been a long time, mate. I hope you're well. Haven't caught up in ages. In fact, it would be more than a year ago, I think. Oh, surely not. I don't know. Maybe it was Whiskey Fair last year. Maybe it was September or something. Anyway, or late August. I think Whiskey Fair is normally in late August. You'd have to ask Oak Barrel, by the way. I don't know what's happening with the Whiskey Fair this year, but I really hope it goes ahead, if it can go ahead, but I don't know if it will. Lachlan says, MVD, mate, are you trying to open cans of worms on my stream? Good luck, mate. Start saving. Yeah. Put your pennies away now. Look, there's some special stuff coming in June outturn. In fact, I've said this about some previous outturns. It's probably one of the most diverse outturns ever. May was massive because it's a festival edition, but June is massive for different reasons because the diversity of what's in June is especially exciting. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a taste of some whiskey. An upcoming bottling, a Dreamer's Dram, 134.7, sweet, fruity, and mellow, a monsoonally aged Indian single cask that I think is a remarkable whiskey. I'll be able to talk a bit more about that, of course, because we're going to be hosting the tasting with those packs. In the meantime, I wish you all a happy week, happy weekend. It's Monday. I'll see you this week. I'll get my head into gear. This week is massive for the live streams, as you've probably seen. If you've not, tomorrow night is Billie Jean and Dan Woolley. So Dan and his partner Billie Jean have just opened a distillery in Byron Bay, Mullumbimby. We're going to have a chat with him about Highwayman, about his journey and his ambitions for the future, which is really exciting because if you don't know who Dan Woolley is in the whiskey scene, you should. So he's someone who is has been everywhere and has been the ambassador for Lafroig for a long time and has always a soft spot for Lafroig. Who doesn't have a soft spot for Lafroig? Wednesday night is with the legendary global brand ambassador for Highland Park, Martin Markvaardsen. He's tuning in from the UK. I think he's in the UK, or at least that's where he might be. He's in the UK. He's going to join us for a live stream on Wednesday night. I've got Martin Markvaardsen joining us. Like, this guy's a living legend. He's also the scariest look. Martin Markvaardsen is the only ambassador I know who is slightly scarier looking than Dan Woolley. So I've got two of the scariest looking brand ambassadors on the stream this week. This is really exciting. Thursday night, we kick it up a gear, of course. Is my stream still up? I'm getting a bit of an error there. Nope, we okay? Sorry, all good. Whew, okay. Thursday night, I've got Julian White from Whiskey and Almond tuning in. He's the co-founder of Whiskey and Almond, the premium partner bar in Melbourne. So they've been doing it tough, of course, because they're not open. So, but we hope to have a chat with Jules on Thursday night, which would be fantastic. We don't hope to, we will. And then Friday is our big members Q&A. Bam. Which is great. So we're going to put the Zoom link in the group probably on the Friday morning or Thursday night. You'll see it there. Pardon me. And we'll see. We'll have a chat with everyone, just like not like last week, which is the Tassie Roundtable, but the week before, which was just outstanding. Good fun. Good fun. Everyone, all the members in the group are welcome. This is great. So I will see you all tomorrow night. In the meantime, keep an eye on our Instagram stories. There's stuff coming up every day. Keep an eye on our website. We've popped bits of bobs up here and there, including maybe a little bit tomorrow, but you didn't hear it from me. And I'll see you all for a marvelous Tuesday night with Dan and Billie Jean tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Another nightly live stream. I'm your ambassador, Matt Bailey. Thank you again. And until we catch up tomorrow, have a great evening. Drink responsibly, and I'll see you soon. Wasn't a yawn, Wooler. It was legitimately just a hiccup. I'm not that tired. It's only Monday. Give me a break.